So we are lucky to start our October month of forums with the Woven Basket recipient of the month, AICHO. And we are going to learn all about what the American Indian Community Housing Organization is up to. AICHO transforms oppression into opportunity. Created in 1993. Just wait 1 second, just wait. AICHO started in a parking lot outside of a social service agency with a conversation between Native American community members who asked why our community had no resources, no community spaces, and no services that met our cultural needs. AICHO was thus created as an Indigenous response to social conditions in Duluth, Minnesota, powered by the urban Native American community. For anyone interested after listening in today, if you're especially tuning into the recording, just go to AICHO, AICHO.org. And today we're going to hear from the amazing Leanne Littlewolf and Rose White about some updates, how we can continue to support and be involved in the community. Thank you all so much for being here. And with that, let's give a warm welcome to Rose first. This is Rose. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rose White. I am the Gamaji Director at AICHO, the American Indian Community Housing Organization. And I do have Leanne Littlewolf here with me, because I'm going to have her chime in here, because I didn't know this is what I was going to be doing this morning. But talking about AICHO, she did give me an update, but I get nervous on some of these things. So, but oh gosh. See, I'm going to keep drawing blanks, Lan, so that's why I'm going to need your help. We are a housing organization that we have a lot of different things going on at AICHO. We have our housing complex in the building, 29 units of permanent supportive housing. We have our Indigenous First Gift Shop. We have other programs in the building and the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe Urban Office that rents out space also. We also have a few other things that's outside of AICHO. A fair market housing called Indage. And we have the 4th Street Market that, yes, and then the CPL, CPL. So what I do at AICHO, a very new role recently, not long ago, I was the Gamaji case manager and recently Gamaji director. Right now, still learning in this role, but I've been with AICHO for 8 years now and started as a resident assistant, and my main job was to keep our residents housed with the the Gamaji case manager position. And then the positions I just kept climbing up. I love what AICHO does for the community and for the residents in the building and the community. What else? With this new role, it's really different, but I'm enjoying it. I'm learning as I go, but I'm really there for the residents. The residents make me, help me keep going, keep wanting to try to do better. But with that, there's been lots of different, lots of changes within AICHO. Also, that's been added within helping our residents, but helping the community as well. And I love it. Yeah, we have 29 units of permanent supportive housing, and there is about 80, maybe about 80 plus people, women, children, men, and we actually have a full house right now. Every unit is filled, and different. To fill those units, we have to go through coordinated entry, and that's the VI-SPDAT process. I don't know if many of you know about that. If you do look on coordinated entry, just typing coordinated entry 211.org, 211.org, yes. And it kind of explains that process there, but they have to be homeless. Oh gosh, what were the other? They can stay there for as long as they like. We've had residents there for some since Gamaji went into that building. We have about maybe 6 residents, maybe still 6 since, and then about a good chunk since I've been there. So it's been yeah 8 plus or more years that some of the people have been there. I have a lot of new families as well. Right now, some of them have been 2 to 4 years, maybe the longest. Whether it's they're ready to live in mainstream housing, moving out of the area. What else?
How do you know when you're good?
And if it's okay for the online attendees, I think Meredith will pass the mic around, that way we can hear too.
And are you comfortable taking questions right now? I don't
No, that's totally fine.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
it's helping along. Yeah. How they're ready is they let us know when they're ready. Whether it's sometimes they really well, how they tell us when they're ready is, so we start looking for other resources, whether it's pointing in the right direction, or I'm assisting them with not job applications, housing applications with the application fees, because that's a lot. If they've been working for some time, because a lot of our residents, when they come in, they are coming from the street, so they are coming with absolutely nothing. And then I do have a resident right now I'm assisting with. She's been there 10 or more years now, and she recently, about 5 years ago, she sobered up. She has a job now. She's been working for about that long, and we're working on looking to buy a house right now with her. So, and then I'll start the process to get somebody else in her unit once we get her moved out and on. So they pretty much tell us when they're ready. But a lot of them, they wish they would have stayed most of the time. So.
It's interesting that you say that the residents really keep you going, motivate you. What are some of the things that you do that gives you that feeling of fulfillment?
When I started working at AICHO, I was a resident assistant. So I've had 4 or 5 positions since I've been there. And I relocated to Duluth. I have 8.5 years sober. And that's why I relocated to Duluth. So they help me keep going. I see myself in them. I share certain parts of my life with them, and they usually when I share it with somebody, they tell me, I would have never guessed. So, and I love hearing that part, so it's relating with them. And yeah, so, and I do share that because I want them to know that they can do it too. And a lot of the families we work with, they don't ever see themselves going any further than that. So, yeah.
Do you usually have a waiting list, and then how do you determine what family is the, lucky one, shall we say, in this?
No, we don't have a waiting list because of the coordinated entry process we have to do. Except with 5 of our units, we do have to go through, or 5 of our units are for Fond du Lac enrollees only. So that one is, it's not as hard as the other 24 units. And their efficiency up to 3 bedrooms. And then for the Fond du Lac units, they're for families only. That the band Fond du Lac takes care of those. So there's no, well, with the Fond du Lac units, with the applications, we stamp them as they come in, and we go through date, and then just, anything we've been learning lately, anything over 3 years, they've either moved on, phone numbers changed, or they found housing, so we still try to contact them, but lately it's been one of those reasons, so.
They're on the list for a long time.
They can be, but it's, because, so our Fond du Lac units, they are very rarely open. Very rarely open. But when they do, we just go through our list, because they come in all the time, and we have to explain the process to community members or other advocates and programs that we work with in the community, so.
So you get referrals, but you don't have a waiting list because they don't get official until you do that process. Is that, there must be a lot of people in the community who would like to live there if they have a chance.
We do get that, but for the other ones, for the coordinated entry, that one is, we get, when we screen somebody for that, when we have an open unit, we contact coordinated entry, and we start the process there. And there's a lot of people on that coordinated entry list. There's a lot of people on that. So, and it's a lot of people, phone numbers are forever changing, or they move out of the area because of no housing, so, and it's just, I don't know, just wish there was more housing in Duluth. It makes it really hard for a lot of the families that we do work with because of backgrounds. If they had something criminal in their past, it really makes it hard. So, with what I've been working with since I've been there, so, yeah. Yeah.
Do you do programs for people who have addiction issues, and or how is that handled there if there are people who are using?
We do occasionally have that. We do work with them. Say somebody comes in, we screen, we are able to get them into housing and then offer, if they want to go to treatment, they are able to go do that. So we can work on trying to help them keep their housing. So, yeah.
I wonder if you, from what you're saying, I wonder if you are yearning for some kind of expansion, and if so, what kind of expansion would you love to be able to offer?
A bigger Gamaji. A bigger Gamaji, really. When I first came to AICHO, like I said, it's the program and what we've helped our residents with, because we do help them with whatever advocacy services we can. I've went to child protection court. I've went to doctor's appointments. I've been whatever they needed me to be, because a lot of them don't have that family support that some of us do have, and they need that. They really do. So, what else was? Sorry, I drew a blank.
So you kind of looked over all the things that AICHO are involved, or either that or I was kind of slow. Could you talk more? So Gamaji is the old YWCA,
Yes,
and you said that had 39?
29 units.
29 units. What other facilities, housing, or others do you have?
We have in Daje, it's a 10 apartment, 1 to 2 bedroom apartment complex out East Duluth. I mean, that's fair market for low income. It's a set amount. I think it's $850. And then there is for, oh gosh, what is that? If they have a voucher, they can put that with it too. So sometimes we're able to move. If some of our residents, they still want to live in AICHO, we are able to move some of them over to the Indaja unit. And I'm mainly involved with a lot of the Gawaji stuff. So, and you did talk about some of the other programs, our programs, because we do have a lot of different things. There was just a book event yesterday, that yeah, I'm gonna have Leanne Littlewolf talk a little bit about the other stuff that we do, because that's her cup of tea.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rose. Gamaji is the heart of AICHO. So to have housing and have permanent housing is huge. And I think that was just as a community member in Duluth, when Gamaji opened, that was really exciting. And I wasn't on staff then, but I know like when Gamaji opened, you have 29 units, you had over 450 applications. And at that time, we didn't have to go through coordinated entry. Coordinated entry is a system that was mandated by the federal government through HUD. And so it was put in place across the United States. So anyone that gets HUD funding for supportive housing or for housing that serves people who are experiencing homelessness need to participate in it. And our continuum of care put that system in place, and there's a lot of challenges with it. And a lot of, there's aspects of it that are not really aligned with what a person who's experiencing homelessness, that's best for them. It's hard to keep a cell phone. I've had my cell phone for, I used to lose my cell phone all the time, but now I've had this cell phone for 5 years, same phone number, so that's something that's just easy for me. But I know other people that they'll go through 3 cell phones or 3 cell phone numbers in a month. So because they use the free text, or they'll use free minutes, they have to kind of patch those together to get through the month, and then they start over the next month. So, it's hard for people to stay in contact when that's where the means of how they reach them when there's an open unit. So Rose does a lot with, when there's an open unit, she gets a batch of names, and she does her so much effort to try to get a hold of the people And then sometimes their system or their situation has changed because they've been on that list for so long. So it's a challenging situation, but the exciting thing is when a household comes in to sign their lease, they're coming into a permanent supportive housing program. And that means that they get full support. So they have access to Rose, who's one of the greatest case managers and directors I've ever seen work. And she goes all out for the residents. And we do everything from like helping kids get ready with school supplies. We serve breakfast in the morning before they head out to school. We always have snacks when they get off the bus. If the kids are having any issues at school, the Gamaji staff go up and advocate at the school. Let's see, the residents with health situations, American Indian people have some of the highest health disparities. And so there's a lot of chronic health conditions. And a lot of times those are health issues that have been unaddressed, unresponded to for many, many years. So they finally get home, they're stable, they can start addressing those issues. And that goes all the way from the kids all the way up to the adults, and we have older adults, elders who live on site. So it's complex, and it makes a world of a difference in people's lives. So Gamaji, the thing I always like to reflect on about Gamaji is it is a real community, and people look out for each other, people build relationships. On site, we're really lucky to be at the Gamaji building because, like you said, it is the former YWCA building. It's a historic building. It's our central location, and there's lots of space, right? So there's lots of community space. We have a gym for the kids to go down. We have a gym activities coordinator. We just put that in this year. So every evening there's supervision for the kids to go down and have gym time, play games, do that. That's huge for kids. Kids need to have adult presence and adult attention. So let's see, with the gym this year, we just had a traditional Bagadawaywin stick maker make us a full set of it's our traditional game of stickball. It's similar to lacrosse, but it's a little bit different. But we have 49 sticks, from like little sticks to larger sticks, so that all ages can play. We had the posts made by, so Ben Spears made our sticks, and then Tom Howes, he made our posts, and then our Bagadawaywin balls. And so we can have live games in our gym, and all ages participate. The families come down. It is really awesome to be able to play our traditional games. In that gym, we also have so we have the Dr. Robert Paulus Cultural Center, and we can seat 100 people in there, but when we have bigger events, we move it down to the gym. So last year we started having a traditional fall, we started with the fall feast, which was bringing, we were gifted an Eagle staff, and that's a really high honor. So we had a ceremony to bring the Eagle staff to Gamaji. Then in spring, we had our traditional spring feast where we asked Rick Defoe to come and help us, and it's a traditional to feast our sacred items like our pipes, our fans, our hand drums, our drums, eagle whistles, and the community brought all of their spiritual items, and it was a community feasting of items, and it was a very powerful event, and we had close to 300 people there, and people are craving ceremony. People are craving space to be connected and to, so we did that last spring, and then we just had our fall feast in September. Again, it was very full. So we've been using the gym for lots of different events. And then we have a traditional healing program. We get funding through Department of Human Services through the state of Minnesota. And 5 years ago, it was a pilot program. So we had this for 5 years. But right when that grant started, we went into COVID. And so a lot of our grant, the activities that we imagine would be in person to have like those kind of the big feasts, the big ceremonies. Our staff person had to think creatively and move everything to Zoom. Like we're on Zoom today. So, we all made that big shift. But traditional healing offers monthly cultural teaching. Oh, I think this one out.
We'll
The battery, sorry, I tapped the microphone out.
Here we go.
Sorry. So we so we have a cultural teaching on site at Gamaji once a month, and in August we had an elder come from Mille Lacs who talked about big drum ceremonies. And so it benefits our Gamaji residents. They come down to hear, to listen, to meet people. Also our Duluth community. But we had people drive from like 3 hours away to come and hear this because we understand the importance of listening to our elders and to getting that knowledge. And so the cultural teachings have been really well attended. What else do we do? Ojibwe language. We've been doing that consistently for the past it's 5 to 6 years. Rick Defoe teaches weekly. We also, Frank Goodwin, he does a weekly talking circle, and he also used to do a father's group, and he's starting to do a mom and dad's group on site at Gamaji. So there's a lot of different supportive healing events that are available for people, and it goes to that when we're recovering from addiction or we're recovering in our life, to be connected to others, to be in community is such a healing factor. So to have space to do that is really big. We took what was a storage room and we converted it into a meeting room, and it's now our maker space. And so this summer that space really came alive, and we have supplies, we have tools, and people can cut. We have open makerspace hours, and so each month they have a different theme. So I think this month it's blankets, and then next month will be moccasins. And so people can come in and work on those kind of projects, but it's open to whatever people want to work on. And in that makerspace, this has been the thing I've been really excited about. Been talking with Angie Frank from Duluth Adult Education about having an instructor on site for adult education. And so I believe next week we're gonna have the teacher on site. So we have 3 days a week where we'll have an instructor available. And we wanted the instructor to be in the makerspace. So in a place where people usually come to, visit, have a cup of coffee, make something, and be in this like positive environment, and then come in and feel comfortable when they start to do their learning journey, their learning process. Last year we I call it a pilot project, but we did this, our leadership team sat down and we talked about how many residents do we think don't have their GED or their high school diploma? And Rose thought about half. So if I think like 29 units, so let's say there's 15 people that don't have their high school diploma or GED. Well, you have to have your GED or diploma to go into a lot of the job training programs. And there's all of these job training programs where you can get a career that will like really sustain you, but you have to get through that first step. So I'm like, well, if people could get their GED or their diploma, that's going to be a lifelong impact. So we set it up where we did a flyer, and we have monthly dinners with the tenants, and we announced like for March until December, we're going to try this out. Anyone who gets their diploma or their GED, we're going to do an honoring feast, and you get a $500 honorarium. So it was in June, but this young woman worked so much that we couldn't get it scheduled till August. She graduated with her diploma. So we did an honoring ceremony, and we had Frank was there. Frank Goodwin came as our spiritual advisor. He spoke about the importance of education and the accomplishment that she had made. We didn't ask Frank to do this, he did this on his own, but he gifted that young woman an eagle feather, which is a very high honor. And then the staff had gone and got her a wool blanket and wrapped her in that blanket, and we had a traditional singer sing an honor song. And so she was standing there, wrapped in that blanket, and the community came up while that song was being sung to shake her hand, but most often hug her and wish her the best, and people that were actually strangers to her. It was such a powerful, moving event, and wishing her the best. And her family came up and they said, well, we didn't know what this was going to be. You know, we just came down here. We heard but thank you. Like, thank you for doing this for her. But that's like community, right? That's what we do for each other in community. And so the next graduation honoring ceremony we had was a young couple. They have an infant daughter and a preschool son. And they both got their education achievement, and they wanted to do their event together as a family. And it was so powerful to see the mom and dad, one holding the baby and one holding the son, wrapped in the blankets, and the whole community coming out. And the thing is that it's all ages. So the little kids come out, they're all a part of this and they're watching this. And that's like reinforcing this idea of like education is so important. Like, we honor education. So we started that last year, and those were really healing events. And then last year we also had a resident who decided to run the Grandma's Marathon, and he signed up and he got on the bus and he went up and he finished the marathon. And his family were so proud of him. They said, like, I wish we could do something to honor him. So within 2 days, our team pulled together an honoring ceremony and did. And the spiritual Rick Defoe came in. He asked that young man to bring the shoes that he ran in. He ran in a pair of old, beat up tenors, and he wrote in an old T-shirt. He's like, show them what you ran in. And so it was to him, like, they did that ceremony a little bit different because Rick passed an eagle feather to all of the elders to talk to that young man. And again, this is all ages, so there's a lot of little kids that are listening, but all of the elders like told them how proud they were of him. And he was gifted an eagle feather and an eagle whistle. And in my life, I have never seen an eagle whistle gifted before. But then he's not, he's a very kind, helps everybody out, but a man of few words. But after we did that ceremony and we ate, he took the mic and he talked very extensively about, he didn't know what he was getting himself into. He just got on that bus. When he was riding up there, he saw people with fancy gear, and they were in teams and they had been practicing. He hadn't practiced. Yeah. And then he got it dropped off up by Two Harbors, and then he was like, he got pushed to the front of the pack when they took off. Yeah, he was at the front in the beginning, and then he said it was so hard, like running on the pavement, so he would try to run alongside the pavement, but he didn't give up, and he said, I don't compete to be better than anybody, but to show myself what I can do. And then all of these powerful teachings that were shared in that event. So I think for AICHO, we're trying to create space for those kinds of things to happen, and they're happening more frequently, and they're life changing. So we did that last year. We just started a partnership with a group of community activists who have life experiences with being homeless, and some of them are living in their car right now. They've been living in their car for the past 2 to 3 years, but they're committed to doing policy change. So they were been organized for the last year, and they went down to the state capitol last year. They're working on policy work to improve affordable housing, and they're called Streetwise. So just super excited to work with them. And their project leader is Babette Sandman. So she's just a phenomenal organizer. And I'm trying to think of some other we finished our shelter, our Dabaduagan shelter construction. And so we went from 10 beds to 23 beds, and our new shelter has been open and operating since February of this year. And that, that's massive. And just getting used to the bigger expanded programming is huge. But they have really created a really warm, welcoming, safe shelter, the team. We have a really robust arts and culture program, And last night we had a art reception for two artists, Chimakwa Nabawi and Katie Lou Musquiz, and their art is incredible. And last year we started this Binabwe Aki, which is like she is washed clean the earth, and we do that with the Duluth Clean Energy Network, who approached AICHO about they want to figure out how to be more equitable. So we started meeting monthly, AICHO as an organization, and then Sierra Club, Unitarian Universalist, I think it's the Environmental Justice,
Yeah, climate action.
Climate Action, Citizens Climate Lobby, and then Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, and Equilibrium 3. So we were meeting and talking about, we would give AICHO updates and then hear about updates from the different organizations. And then we co-designed these evenings where we would invite Gamaji residents to come down and talk about clean energy, but the focus was to build relationship and to get to know each other. And I just want to say, last night was one of the greatest nights because Brett Cease came with his sons, and Brett was there, and when he must have left, but a young couple who came to every one of our clean energy groups, they came up and they were like, oh yeah, that guy from the Capitol was here too, we got to see him. And I was like, the guy from the Capitol? And the group had invited us down to Rise and Repair. And so when we got down there, Brett welcomed us, helped us get to the meetings, helped us throughout the day. And that was the hope of that clean energy group, was that we would build enough relationships where the residents would say, oh yeah, there's Brett, or there's Laura, or there's Jenna. And that has started to happen. And when you have real relationships, that's when you can start to really make change and you can really move things together. So I saw it happen last night. I was so super excited. So
I'm just gonna say, so we seem to have our power back on the roving mic, so that's thing one. Thing two is that we are just starting our woven basket cycle for this month, and AICHO is the woven basket recipient for October. So we're trying this new thing with our folks who are here. If you are not going to be at the service, we want to give you an opportunity to give to AICHO while we're here together in forums. We don't have a woven basket to pass, but we do have a forged bowl that will start back here and circulate. And there's opportunities still to give at the service as well as throughout the whole month of October. And my question for Leanne and Rose is, what's the best way for us to support? We can certainly share financial contributions, but are there other ways to work alongside AICHO? You just mentioned one with the clean energy, and I thank you for that story.
We get a variety of different donations, whether it's household, hygiene, because when our tenants move in, we try to provide them with the basic necessities. We get donations. We don't really have the storage, but sometimes bag furniture, we get furniture donated sometimes. And we're able to put it in there. So we take a variety of different clothing. I try to go through it before we put it out, because like our space is limited in the front, or even to store it. So, but yeah.
I think too, like showing up to events is great because it shows up, it's building community and building relationships, and like coming, if you hear of AICHO events and wanna come by. I think that we've had really strong partnerships here. Especially on certain specific initiatives, and it is always an honor to come up here and to visit and to talk and to share like updates, and I feel like Unitarian Universalists care about how we're doing and care about why AICHO exists and like what we're doing in the community, and I feel like we are in partnership. So for me, like just to continue to strengthen that partnership and to be in allies together and trying to make social justice movement. And then I had some, my brain just went. But I think that those are really meaningful ways. Oh, I do want to say, because that education is really critical. We want to start working on we have to redo some of our policies this past year, and so I'm working on our volunteer policies. But once we get those finalized, I want to set up a time for adults to have learning time with the children at Gamaji. And I don't want to call it tutoring or homework. I want kids to get focused on the joy of learning. So, because once they have that, then that takes them through a lot of hardship or challenges. And so I will need committed adults that would be willing to do that. So more to come on that, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months.
One more question before we wrap, because at 10:15 we were really,
Okay,
please do stay around for more conversation.
okay, and it's more of a comment. Linda Paulus sends her greetings. She called in this morning, and both to Rose and Leanne. And I'm Therese. I just feel that, do you feel AICHO is getting more exposure in that, like the Chum Tour comes to AICHO about CJMM Memorial, that kind of thing. It seems like I'm hoping bridges are being built with AICHO. Do you feel like that? Like last night, the Birch Bark movie showed at the North Shore, and AICHO, the building, was featured in that. I just hope you feel your visibility is improving.
I think that the Expanding Horizons tours help with that. There's a lot of people who don't know that we exist, and they come through and they're really surprised. We had the Secretary of State, Simon, come through, and he was just floored by AICHO. You know, and AICHO is the culmination of like many people over 30 years creating this organization and really creating a dynamic programming and really putting a lot of, I would say, cultural thought into action. And so I think like we are getting, but it does surprise me how we're downtown, we're in a historic building, and we still have people coming, like I had no idea this was here. So I think getting the word out about AICHO, it's gonna continue to be, you know, we need to do that.
Thank you both so much for being here, and quick reminder, if folks are writing checks here or in the sanctuary later, you can either make it out to UUCD or to AICHO. It will all get to AICHO for this month. Just specify a woven basket in AICHO. And Sally, do you want to say a little something about next week's?
Okay, next week we have the 2 judge candidates for the 6th Judicial District. Sean Reed and Gunnar Johnson will be here. Please come if you can. We're asking them to be here. We want to have a good crew of people, and bring your questions because we're going to allow that if there's time. So please join us next week here for that forum.
Well, I just want to thank you much for having us. We really appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.